What is going on? I want to thank you for coming by to Vape with the Viking. So today, I'm on an MTL kick. So today I got the Berserker V2 sitting on top of the Trident little MOSFET kind of a mechanical mod, little 18650 thing. Review will be coming up here hopefully in the next couple weeks. Getting a little backed up. Been away a bit. I'm back. But definitely got running some naked Go Nanas. This was actually suggested to me by CM. He runs 12 milligram Go Nanas and Berry Burst, I believe, in his pod systems and the small mouth-along devices he has. Never really used anything above 6 milligram in traditional nicotine. Of course, salts, as you know, I will do 24, 25 milligram. But I wanted to give this a shot. I have the new, or excuse me, it's the old Lost Vape Orion DNA. I'm upgrading that. I upgraded that for a subscriber. He sent it to me. I sent it back to him. Upgraded. Pretty easy little upgrade. So I'm just kind of branching out into different juices I could try with that. And of course, I always have MTLs lying around. So wanted to give it a shot. So far, very, very good flavor. Just it's a very natural banana and cream. So shout out to CM for suggesting this. Very, very good flavor so far out of this stuff. So, but we're here for the device, not the juice, right? Juice is later. So this is definitely a 22 millimeter RT or RTA RDA. If you've been into vaping long, you know that they've had the Berserker. This is the V2. They had the 1.5. They had the original one. Then they had the RTA. Different renditions by Vandy Vape and Alex Vapers MD. So this one, definitely not like an upgrade versus the other previous Berserkers. This one, they've kind of pretty much went through and redid it. Just looks roughly familiar, but it is a total different RDA altogether that at least I've experienced. So before we get into the ins and outs and dive down on this little MTL Vikings Advocacy Minute, you should know, do not fast forward. Do not. So as usual, what I will have for the foreseeable future is the numbers over here to the White House. One's is to the switchboard and one is to the comment line. I urge everybody at least once a week, take 5 minutes out of your day, do this, because I always tell you to don't have to be involved, but be informed. Knowledge is power. Problem is the time for not being involved is over. Almost every other day I'm seeing this state, that state, this state, that state, ban. Not even regulated. It's just done. Now, I know there's going to be people out there saying, but look at what happened in New York. They banned it. We fought. They've lifted temporarily. Here's the big thing with that. If you watch the Rising Vapor show, you'll know that there is at least one, probably multiple people in chat that are dealing with the New York flavor ban right now. And the problem is the damage has been kind of done. Now it's not irreversible, but it's still not good. So like one of the things that he informed us is, yeah, great, they lifted the ban. But shops have already closed. Shops have already left. So now when it comes on to the online sales, yeah, great. You're back on. Business is good. But what happened to Tom and Jane's Vapor World? It's gone. It's probably not going to come back. So the thing that you have to realize is the time for keyboard kind of like, I'll get involved. I'll throw some comments in here every once in a while. That time is over. If you have ever shopped at a brick and mortar or plan on ever going to a brick and mortar, for one, you need to get on it, because let's say here in Kansas, I don't do anything. Kansas Vapers don't do anything. Oh, we do a lot of online shopping. Okay. What about the jobs and the people that work there? What's going to happen to them? And what happens if for some reason we can't buy online anymore because of certain restrictions or regulations? Okay, well, I'll just go down to my brick and mortar. Guess what? They're gone. Might have only had a ban for a week or so, but they're gone. You know, that week they lost so much money, they're done. So please, 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 please jump on the train. And once you jump on, stay on. Just because we have one or two little victories here and there doesn't mean we're done. Not even close. Not even close at all. So, but we'll get off that for a bit because you hear it everywhere. So, anyway, let's get back to this little MTL, which you know is kind of my little guilty pleasures. I still do MTL quite often, but I'm ready. Are you ready? Let's do this. Let's drop the hammer on the Berserker V2.
Okay, so what I got for you today is Vandy Vape Berserker V2 MTL RDA by Vapers. And of course, Vandy Vapes. On the side, you got some information of how to learn about Vandy Vape, your scratch authenticity, Vandy Vape, and then here you have your QR code, your UPC, and your color finish, Berserker 2. And then on the back is all of your contents, your serial number, and then all the warnings, and then the main features. Alright, so in the box you're going to get the RDA itself. You're going to get 2 different drip tips. Well, I guess 3 altogether. First you're going to have this Ultim setup. And then you'll have these 2 guys. Now, one of the things you will see difference-wise is these are roughly the same diameter. So this one's going to be a short one, and then this course this is going to have the metal heat fins to it. But comparatively, when you look at it versus the pre-installed one, it is much tighter on the pre-installed one. Very small diameter on the inside of this one. Now it'll fit any of your 510 drip tips as long as it's the double O-ring, and then we'll show a little later in the package contents. If you don't like the Ultim, this is a screw-on palm, so you can change it. So for the rest of the box contents, you do have a baggie of peak inserts, a bag of your spares, which will have the black palm screw-in tip in there as well, O-rings, deck screws, Allen, screwdriver, and then you'll also have your non-squonk or dripping 2-piece 510 pen right there, your user manual, and then you'll get a set of these superfine MTL fuse Claptons. Now I will be using these mainly because for my MTL I do mostly use the either NI80 or the stainless steel superfine MTLs from Vandy Vape. Alright, on the RDA itself, you of course have that heat finned drip tip. You do have your airflow insert, which looks weird because it's going into nothing. I'll show you why here. And then nothing else, just really plain on the outside. So some people are going to dig that, some people are not going to dig that. And on the bottom you got Berserker V2 MTL RDA by Vapers, manufactured by Vandy Vape, and your serial number. And if you see, it is got the squonk pin preloaded, and it is a very well protruding gold-plated 510 with some peak on the outside as well. So this is definitely hybrid safe. Alright, so the top cap itself, it's if you see, there's condensation from when I cleaned it. If you see, the airflow hole is right here. So the air inlet is here, but if you look on the inside, the air hole's on the other side. Well, that's a little strange, right? You have a little lock tab there. What that does is because when you draw in, it actually draws air through the barrel into there. That's why that barrel is so thick as well, because there's actually room in there for the airflow to go in there. Now, what this little notch for is if you see the deck, there's a little notch there. So that's how it lines it up. And when you open up at first, you'll see this big, huge hole there. That's where these inserts are going to go into. You're just going to pop an insert in there, and then there's your airflow. Two pretty darn good sized flathead screws, double O-ring at the bottom, and then if you look at the deck here, let's see if it'll focus a little better. It does have the little edges here to help when you put your leads in. If you put them towards the outside, it'll catch them so you can clip them off a lot better. And the juice well is extremely deep, which is pretty typical of usually MTL RDAs, but that one's pretty deep there. Pretty nuts there. So let's do a build in here. Put a coil. We'll use that superfine MTL. Use some cotton, and we'll throw in some soft mints by Darkstar, their VPR range. It's got that really nice, sweet dinner mint to it, which is really good for, in my opinion, MTL. It's something that you can just slowly enjoy. So let's get this rolling.
All right, we are back up with the Berserker V2. Get a little specs out of the way. So 35 bucks is pretty much where you're finding this all over the internet. 22 millimeter. They do have what's called a dual shell cap design, which I kind of showed you in the dive down. And the little peak airflow, almost said insulators, inserts are 1 millimeter, 1.4, 1.6, and 2.0. I have the 2.0 in here. I do like MTL, but I don't like shake through a straw MTL. So, and what I got for you here is kind of interesting. Here is kind of a picture of how the airflow works, because even in dive down, you can't see what's going on inside the RDA. Here you do. I did pull this off of Vandy Vape's website directly. As you'll see, there's basically a gap in between the outer shell and the inner shell. So when you draw into the airflow, it comes in, it goes into basically that gapping that's in between the shells and goes straight into the opposite side, which is that airflow, and then goes up through the coil. So thought that was a pretty cool little display of how that works. But Viking, how does it vape? Hold on. 12 milligram Go Nanas. Nope, I don't have to pull it out. Remember, it's the Vandy Vape micro superfine fused Claptons, and I got the stainless steel version in here. Barbie, she uses the NI80. She doesn't like stainless. I use stainless because of mechs and temperature control. So, build was a 0.7, almost on the nose. Yeah. Yep. 18650 in there. It's a pretty sure, yeah, it's my rewrap. It is a 20S that's in there. Got a little Deadpool action. Look at that. Yeah. So that's how I denote if they're my 20S's, if they're Deadpool or not. So vapes really well. It is definitely, even with the biggest insert, it is a tighter MTL. I think that 1.0 would be definitely way too tight of a draw for me. But I also like use 30 millimeter RDAs and 38 Bajalas and stuff like that. So that'd be way too tight for me. But the drip tips, I do like the one with the Ultim Palm on it. I went with this just to kind of give it a completely murdered out look. But I definitely like the shorter palm tip, in my opinion. But it's a drip tip. It's whatever it is to you. It's a standard 510, so you can put whatever you wanted to in there. So yeah, just tons and tons of pros. Very leak resistant because you got to get up and over and then out and into the secondary shell, and then it'll finally come out the airflow. So I think you have probably better luck coming out of the 510, the drip tip top, than you would to actually get it out of the airflow. So very leak resistant, very nicely priced, usual pricing. Fit and finish, really, I like the coating that's on it. You can tell it's going to be very durable. The airflow, it's nice and smooth because it does have, I believe, so much places to travel that it gets smoothed out on the way. Flavor is really on point. If you have more of a subtle flavor, because there is technically a lot of air travel per se, well, that doesn't even matter because the coil's there, your mouth's there. It shouldn't even matter what flavor you're running in it. Gosh, trying to think of some cons, and I have problems finding cons with MTLs because my biggest thing is if it's one that they want you to squonk on or whatever, is it leak resistant? Yes. Can it take more than just a round wire build? Yeah. I mean, they even throw in their a couple super fine coils in there. Does it produce flavor and good flavor? Yeah. So, I mean, there, I don't know, cons. It's not 24 millimeter. It can hold 10 mils of juice. No, I don't know. God, there's, man, I don't know. Maybe there you go. Here's a good subjective con that somebody will probably definitely bring out is there's no airflow adjustment. Again, the way it was designed, it doesn't need it. That's what those little inserts are for. But then, some people might be like, well, I want something to adjust on the outside. Okay, at that point in time, this is just not the device for you. So I know I dig it. Barbie has used it, and she only does MTL, and she's very picky on MTLs. Like the Galaxy's RDTA is probably one of her by far favorites. She digs it, so it's definitely it's a MTL user approved. So I really don't have any cons to it. It's a Berserker. They're always usually good. Even the ones that had issues with leaking, people that still love those to this day, even though they leak if you don't fill them right. So it's good. So congrats, of course, Vandy and Alex Vapers MD, another good little MTL device. So, but that is all I got today for the Berserker V2. I want to thank each and every one of you yet again for coming to Vape with a Viking, and I'll catch you later.